Imagine a world where every missed delivery, every late route, feels like a personal failing. What if, behind every delay, there's a story you never bother to hear? Today, we're diving into a powerful story about perception, the unseen grind, and the profound impact of simply looking a little closer at the people who keep our world moving. This isn't just about packages, it's about people. Meet David Burney, the sharp, no-nonsense CEO of SwiftShip, a rapidly growing e-commerce delivery company. In the competitive world of logistics, SwiftShip prides itself on speed, efficiency, and seamless customer experience. David lives and breathes data. Every morning, his dashboard glows with metrics, delivery times, route optimization, customer ratings. Green numbers meant success, red, a problem. And lately, there was a persistent flicker of red on one particular driver's log, Alex Ramirez. Alex was new to SwiftShip, just 3 months in. On paper, he had the basic qualifications. He was polite, efficient when he was on the road, and his customer satisfaction scores were surprisingly good. But his start times? Consistently a few minutes late. His first few deliveries of the day? Always just a hair behind schedule. In a company where every second counted, where David preached precision and punctuality, Alex was becoming a noticeable anomaly. David, leaning back in his ergonomic chair, tapped a pen against his tablet. Ramirez, Alex. Performance review. Consistent tardiness. He muttered to himself. It wasn't a massive issue, not yet, but it chipped away at the perfect metrics he strived for. It was a crack in the gleaming facade of SwiftShip's efficiency. David believed in leading by example, and that meant no excuses. He'd worked hard to get where he was, putting in endless hours, making sacrifices. He expected the same dedication from his team. He felt a familiar knot of frustration tightening in his stomach. He just didn't get it. Why couldn't Alex simply be on time? Think about a time you misjudged someone based on their job or a single action. Keep that thought in mind. But as David was about to make a decision based solely on performance reports, a chance observation was about to force him to see beyond the data points and into a life far more complex than his own daily commute. In the world of logistics, data is everything. But what if the data only tells you what is happening, not why? David's frustration with Alex was mounting. SwiftShip operated on razor-thin margins and depended heavily on its reputation for rapid delivery. Every minute a driver was late impacted the entire chain. If one driver slipped, it could snowball, affecting subsequent routes and, ultimately, customer satisfaction, the lifeblood of their business. David had built SwiftShip from a small startup in his garage to a major player, and he'd done it through relentless optimization and unwavering discipline. He pulled up Alex's performance graphs again. The pattern was undeniable. Daily, between 7:30 a.m. and 8 a.m., Alex's tracking showed a consistent delay before he even started his first route. It was never a huge amount, 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes, but it was every single day. And in the high-stakes game of e-commerce delivery, those minutes added up. It's not just about his performance, David had told his head of operations, Sarah, earlier that week. It's about the precedent. What message does it send if we let someone consistently underperform on a core metric? Sarah, typically pragmatic, had offered, maybe there's a reason, David. He's otherwise a good driver, good customer feedback. David had scoffed. A reason? There are always reasons. But in this business, you make it work. You adjust. You find solutions. We can't have drivers who can't meet basic expectations for a start time. His voice had a hard edge. He was a firm believer in the American ideal of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. If he could do it, anyone could. He'd even considered setting up a covert observation, just to see what Alex was doing. He was a CEO, not a detective, but the data gnawed at him. He knew he needed to deal with Alex's lateness soon. He wanted to understand why he was being put in this position. David's own mornings were a picture of efficiency. Woke up at 5 a.m., hit the gym, quick protein shake, reviewed the day's top-line reports, and was in the office by 7 a.m. sharp, ready to conquer the world. He had a supportive family, a comfortable life. He couldn't fathom what could possibly cause someone to be consistently late for a job they presumably needed, especially when that job directly impacted so many others down the line. It just didn't compute. Do you prioritize efficiency over empathy in your own work or life? Share your thoughts below. But as David was about to make a decision based solely on numbers, a chance encounter was about to force him to see beyond the spreadsheets and into a life far more complex than his own daily commute. We all have our morning routines. What if someone's daily start involves a hidden act of profound care before they even clock in? It was a Tuesday, unusually early. David had to attend a breakfast fundraiser for a local children's hospital, an event he usually delegated but felt obliged to attend this time. He left his upscale downtown condo before 7 a.m., the city still largely asleep around him. As his luxury sedan glided through the quiet streets, he noticed something odd. Parked on a residential street, a few blocks from Swiftship's main depot, was one of their distinctive white vans. Not unusual for a driver to park nearby, but this early, and the van seemed empty. Curiosity piqued. David slowed down as he passed. He glanced over, then did a double take. Standing on the sidewalk, not yet in his Swiftship uniform, was Alex Ramirez. He wasn't fiddling with the van. Instead, he was kneeling beside a specialized, accessible school bus, carefully helping a small, frail-looking child, no older than 7 or 8, slowly navigate the steps. The child wore a brace on one leg and moved with obvious difficulty. Alex was gentle, patient, his face etched with a tenderness David had never seen in the stern-faced driver he knew from surveillance footage. David drove past slowly, his mind racing. He parked around the corner, pulling out his phone, not to call Alex, but to subtly record. He watched as Alex, with immense care, helped the child settle into a seat on the bus, buckling them insecurely. He exchanged a few quiet words with the bus driver, a tired but kind-looking woman. Then, he leaned in, kissed the child's forehead, and waved goodbye as the bus slowly pulled away. Only then did Alex straighten up, run a hand through his hair, and walk purposefully towards the parked Swiftship van, his shoulders visibly slumping slightly with a silent exhaustion. David felt a cold wash of something he hadn't experienced in years, profound shame. He'd seen Alex's tardiness as defiance, as a lack of respect for the company. Now he saw the truth. This wasn't laziness. This was unwavering familial dedication. He quickly did some discreet digging. A neighbor, out walking their dog, confirmed that Alex lived there with his younger brother, Leo, who had cerebral palsy. Alex was Leo's primary caregiver. Every single morning, before the sun was fully up, Alex meticulously prepared Leo for school, got him dressed, fed, and then, with immense effort, helped him into the specialized transport. This process, David realized, took time. Precious, unyielding minutes that were dictated by Leo's needs, not Swiftship's schedule. Alex wasn't late because he didn't care. He was late because he cared more. When was the last time you truly saw someone, beyond their job title or their surface? This single, unscripted moment didn't just change David's perception of Alex. It began to unravel a lifetime of assumptions, setting the stage for a new kind of corporate leadership, one rooted in understanding, not just metrics. True leadership isn't just about managing logistics. It's about valuing humanity. David returned to his office that morning, not with a plan to terminate Alex, but with a new mission. He felt the weight of his previous judgment, the unfairness of it. He, with all his resources and privilege, had been blind to the silent, daily heroism happening just blocks from his own efficient world. He remembered his own seamless mornings, his frustrations over trivial delays, and it felt hollow in comparison to Alex's reality. He called Alex in his office that afternoon. Alex walked in, his face tense, clearly expecting the worst. David looked at him, not as a line item on a spreadsheet, but as a dedicated caregiver, a brother, a human being. "Alex," David began, his voice softer than Alex had ever heard it. "I owe you an apology." He then explained what he'd witnessed, without making it sound like a covert operation, but rather a chance observation that had opened his eyes. He saw the surprise, then the relief flood Alex's face. Alex, in turn, hesitantly explained his situation, his voice tinged with weariness but also fierce love for his brother. He tried to make it work, waking up even earlier, rushing, but sometimes Leo just needed more time. He hadn't wanted to burden the company with his personal problems. David didn't penalize Alex. Instead, he did something radical. He worked with HR and his operations team to implement a new flexible start time policy for drivers with documented caregiving responsibilities. This wasn't just for Alex, it was rolled out company-wide, a caregiver support initiative. They adjusted morning routes slightly, allowing a 15 to 20-minute grace period for those who needed it, with clear communication protocols. The results were astonishing. Driver retention, which had been a quiet struggle in the demanding logistics industry, immediately improved. Morale soared. Drivers felt valued, seen, and supported by a company that truly understood their lives beyond the delivery route. And surprisingly, overall delivery efficiency actually increased. Why? Because drivers, feeling less stressed and more appreciated, became even more dedicated. They worked smarter, moved faster once they were on their route, and their customer satisfaction scores climbed even higher. Alex, now unburdened by the constant rush, thrived. He became one of SwiftShip's most reliable and highly rated drivers. His earlier tardiness, a distant memory replaced by consistent excellence. How can you bring more empathy into your workplace or community today, especially for those in service roles? Alex's story and David's subsequent transformation at SwiftShip serves as a powerful reminder that the greatest insights often come when we dare to look beyond the obvious, and the most impactful solutions arise from the deepest understanding of the human element. What if the biggest blind spots aren't in our spreadsheets, but in our hearts, especially when we interact with the people behind the services we rely on daily? David Burney, the CEO who once saw only numbers, now sees stories. The story of Alex, the dedicated brother and driver, forever changed how he leads SwiftShip. He learned that true efficiency isn't just about speed. It's about sustainability, about nurturing your people so they can perform at their best. He learned that behind every statistic, every challenge, is a human story, often one of immense resilience and quiet sacrifice. SwiftShip, under David's new leadership, isn't just delivering packages. It's delivering dignity and understanding. So, the next time your package is a few minutes late, or you encounter someone in a service role who seems to be struggling, I challenge you to pause. To ask yourself, what's their story? What unseen challenges might they be navigating? Because often, beneath the surface of what we see, lies a narrative of resilience, dedication, and challenges we could never imagine. And understanding that narrative isn't just about being a better person. It's about building a better world, one empathetic connection at a time, one delivery, one service, one interaction at a time. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe for more content that challenges your perspective, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. And tell me in the comments below, how has a moment of empathy changed your perception of someone in a service role?